Breaking news out of the NBA as the Washington Wizards and the Atlanta Hawks have completed the first blockbuster trade of this trade deadline, as Trae Young's going to Washington. In exchange, the Atlanta Hawks are getting CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Now, that seems extremely light. However, I've not seen any reports of any first round picks being traded, although this is relatively quickly after the trade was announced, so there are potentially still some details that will be coming out. But I am personally very happy that I did not come home from work and record a Trae Young trades idea video like what I had for Anthony Davis a couple days ago, because I would not have had time to edit it and get it out before he was eventually traded. I honestly did not think that the trade rumors connecting Atlanta and Washington involving Trae Young were going to be true. Turns out that is exactly what was going to happen. Now, moving forward, there are a couple different things for both teams I want to talk about. I have notes for myself on my whiteboard up to the side here, which is what I keep glancing at. First of all, CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert being the return for Trae Young, like I mentioned, does feel a little bit light. Now, CJ McCollum, 18, 4, and 4 a night, is a veteran guy that's going to come in, and I would expect him to either be a starter or a sixth man for this team. Kind of my prediction for what I think the starting lineup would look like for Atlanta moving forward would be CJ McCollum, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Zachary Risese, and Onyeka Okongwu. Doesn't sound that bad. Now, Corey Kispert is a 9-2-1 guy right now. He is a young player that could potentially develop into something for Atlanta. However, this seems like if there are no picks involved, they were just done with the Trae Young era and wanted to dump his salary. Now, CJ McCollum does represent a $36 million contract, which is expiring. I would be highly surprised if that's a number that he hits once again in this next free agency cycle. So that's likely a contract that's going to get smaller. So there is some money saved on Atlanta's side. Now, this is a team that has played better with Trae Young out of the lineup. They are 17-21 the season. They still have a chance to compete. CJ McCollum comes in and still gives them a player in return for their franchise guy that is going to help them be relatively competitive this year. I don't know if this makes them a true playoff team, but they're more than likely going to be in the play-in again. But this does also mark the next era in Atlanta Hawks basketball, where Jalen Johnson is your headliner. He has played amazing this year. He is their franchise guy moving forward. Dyson Daniels is another guy I think they should build around. And of course, you still have Risese, who, number one pick in year 2, can still figure it out. He's still very young. And then Onyeka Okongwu is a very solid young center as well. So the core is there. And now you've freed up some money and potentially even more money with CJ McCollum potentially coming off the roster or having a very limited contract moving forward. I think getting some picks is probably nice for Atlanta. Like I said, this seems very light for Trae Young to not get any picks, but it does seem like his trade value has significantly dropped within the last year or so. So if this is what they could get, I don't hate it. I don't necessarily love it for Atlanta. Now for Washington, they clear $46 million off the books right away. Trae Young is a $95 million contract through 2026 and 27, and like I said, they clear $46 million for this summer, and sitting at 10 and 26, more than likely not going to be competitive. But predicting their starting lineup, you have Trae Young, you have Keyshawn George, you have Bilal, you have Chris Middleton, you have Alex Sarr. It sounds like they have the young guys, and now they have potentially a star player that could come in and be an explosive scorer and a leader. This is a team that, I'll be honest, I've been wrong about since the summer. Everything they've done, I've actually been a fan of, and I continue to like this deal for them. I really don't know if Trae Young is a player that's going to be a winning player. Just his lack of size and defensive ability does limit that, but he's an amazing playmaker, an amazing scorer. If that's what this team wants to bring in and that's what they need, on paper, they have a lot of young guys who look exciting, and I think this is a team that in a couple years should be relatively competitive. Are they going to be one of the contenders? I don't know, but I would expect them to not be a bottom feeder for much longer. With or without Trae, adding Trae, I think just speeds up that whole process. So, as for grades, I would give the Atlanta Hawks, just based off my gut feeling, probably like a B, maybe a B minus. like I said, just Trae Young getting no picks feels so wild to me. But I don't know. That is the market. So it doesn't feel like the worst of trades. I can understand why they took this return for Trae Young. I can understand why they wanted to move on from Trae Young, which is why I'm putting him in that B minus range. As for the Washington Wizards, I think I'm putting him in that B plus A minus range. You did just pick up a lot of money on this young team. Granted, you did clear some money for the summer as well, but how is he going to mesh with this young core that's coming into his own? This is a guy that the offense runs through him. He touches the ball a lot in this Atlanta offense, and so if that's not going to be the case in Washington, what's he going to bring to the table? Because, like I said, an offense run through him as a playmaker or as a scorer. If he's not that, what is he going to do? Because his size and his defensive ability limits him. Either way, I like that they're making a big swing and bringing in a all-star level talent to this team alongside all these young players. Really exciting team. So let me know your comments and your thoughts down below. This is a quick hitter video. If you can tell, I'm trying to save myself time and planning ahead what I wanted to say so that I can save some editing time and get this out ASAP, because at the time of recording, I think the trade already happened like an hour ago, so I'm already a little bit behind the 8 ball. So apologies for a little bit of the rambling, but like I said, let me know your thoughts down below, what you give this trade, what you think the next moves for the Wizards or the Hawks are going to be, what you think the outlook for the rest of the season is. And other than that, I'm out. Peace.